Welcome back to the deep dive. If you like what you hear today, be sure to hit that subscribe button.
I'm ready to dive in.
Okay, great. Today, we're going deep on individual contributors in IT.
ICs.
Yep, ICs. But it's more than just, someone who works alone.
Right, it's not just about solo work.
Yeah. We found this awesome article from LearnXYZ, and it breaks down, all these different IC roles.
Oh, cool. Like what?
Well, they talk about project management, QA, business analysis, even development. And they have all these real-world examples, too, which I think is really helpful.
Real-world examples are always good. It helps to see how it all actually works.
Exactly. So to start off, what exactly makes someone an individual contributor, especially in IT?
Well, the article makes a good point that it's not just working solo. It's more about really focusing on specific tasks and becoming an expert.
Okay, so going deep on one thing.
Yeah, they're the ones who are creating, testing, implementing. And in IT, that often means, having a deep understanding of some specific tech or methodology.
So it's like a super specialized role then.
Exactly. And the article goes into how this specialization plays out in different IT roles.
Ooh, I'm interested to hear about that.
Take project managers. You usually think of them as leading a team.
Yeah, keeping everything on track.
But in IT, they can be really technical, too.
I never thought about that. How does that even work?
Well, the article gave an example of a project manager for, a mobile app project.
Okay.
So they're managing timelines and resources, but also, using their UX skills to make a prototype.
Wow, so they're really hands-on with the actual product.
Yeah, it's not just overseeing. And the article pointed out that this is especially important, in smaller companies.
Yeah, where people might have to wear multiple hats.
Right, exactly.
Yep, that makes sense. So what about, quality assurance? Where do they fit in?
Oh, QA is interesting. They're often considered, the quintessential ICs.
Yeah, so...
Because their whole focus is on making sure the software is good before it goes out to users.
Okay, so they're like the gatekeepers.
Pretty much. And that means they need to understand the software itself, and all the testing methods.
So they're testing the software, finding bugs.
Yeah, and suggesting improvements too. There's an example in the article about a QA engineer working on this e-commerce site.
Okay.
And they found this really bad bug in the payment system.
Oh, wow. That could have been really bad.
Right, and that's why QA is so important. They may not always be super visible, but they're crucial.
I can definitely see that. They're preventing some major disasters.
Exactly. Okay, now business analysts are a bit different.
Yeah, they seem to be more on the the bridge between tech and the client, right?
Yeah, you got it. They gather requirements, analyze processes, and make sure everyone's on the same page.
So they need to speak both languages, tech and business.
Exactly. The article gave this great example of a business analyst who was working on a custom CRM system.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and they had to really understand the company's needs, super specific needs.
So lots of research and talking to people.
Tons of it. And then they had to make it all make sense for the development team.
Wow. Sounds like a tough job. Lots of responsibility.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But super important, too, because they help prevent those big miscommunications.
Right, which can save everyone a lot of time and headaches in the long run.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked project managers, QA, and business analysts. Now for the rock stars developers.
Ah, yes. Developers. Probably the most well-known ICs.
It seems like everyone wants to be a developer these days.
For good reason, I think. They're the ones who actually build the things we use.
Right, so they take those requirements from the business analysts and turn them into, real software.
Exactly. And they need to know all those programming languages, frameworks, tools.
They're like the wizards of the tech world.
I like that, the wizards. And they're always problem solving. The article had this cool example about a developer who was working on this cloud-based platform.
Cool.
And they had to figure out how to do real-time file sharing.
Huh. That sounds really complicated.
It is. But that's what developers do. They're always pushing the boundaries.
So it's not just about knowing the tech, it's about being able to use it to solve these really complex problems.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've seen a few different types of IC roles in IT, but what about some of the challenges they face?
Oh, there are definitely some challenges. For example, the developers in that article.
Oh, right. Tell me more about those developer challenges.
Well, one thing they talked about was they were talking about how developers tend to, specialize, right?
Yeah, they become experts in a particular area.
But the article was saying that can sometimes lead to sort of tunnel vision.
Oh, I see. They get so focused on their one thing that they maybe miss the bigger picture.
Yeah, exactly. Like they might not see how their work fits into the whole project.
Or even like the overall goals of the company.
Right, right. And so the article said that developers, like, while they're getting really good at their specialty, they should also try to stay informed about, like, other technologies that are related.
So they don't become too siloed.
Yeah, it's about finding that balance between, depth of knowledge and breadth of knowledge.
Okay, I get it. So it's not just about being like the best at JavaScript frameworks,
Yeah.
but understanding how JavaScript itself works.
Exactly. It's like you need the foundation so you can adapt when new stuff comes out.
Which in IT seems like new stuff comes out all the time.
All the time. And that actually leads to another challenge from the article, staying updated.
Oh, yeah, that's got to be tough. Keeping up with all the new languages and everything.
It is. The article actually suggested, like, focusing on transferable skills.
Transferable skills.
Yeah, like instead of learning 5 different JavaScript frameworks.
You learn the core concepts of JavaScript itself.
Right, because those concepts will still apply even when new frameworks come along.
That's actually really smart. Makes it a little less overwhelming, I guess.
Totally. Okay, but besides all the technical stuff, there are other challenges too.
Oh, for sure. Like working with other people, even if you are an individual contributor.
Yeah, the article talked about that. It can be hard to balance that independence with collaboration.
Right, because even if you work independently, you're still part of a team.
Exactly. And the article was saying, ICs still need to be good communicators.
So they can explain their work to others, work together.
Exactly. Like they gave this example of a developer working with a designer.
Okay, I can see that. Developers and designers need to be on the same page, for sure.
Right. The developer might have all the technical skills, but they got to communicate with the designer to make sure, like, the user interface is good too.
So communication is key, no matter what your role is.
Absolutely. And then there's, the pressure of deadlines.
Ugh, deadlines.
Yeah.
I feel that. It can get pretty stressful.
Especially in IT, you're right. Like, things move so fast.
And you're dealing with all these complex technical issues.
Exactly. And so the article talked about how important it is to manage stress.
Any tips from the article? Besides, just don't stress.
Well, they said it's important to set, like, realistic goals and prioritize tasks. Oh, and take breaks.
Breaks are so important. Easy to forget when you're in the zone, though.
I know. But the article also said something really important, like, remember to take care of yourself.
So it's not just about working hard. It's about working smart.
Totally. Oh, and another thing, the article mentioned time management.
Ooh, yeah. That's a big one for me, too.
Right. And for ICs, they often have, like, more freedom to structure their day.
Which is great, but also means you have to be extra disciplined.
Exactly. So the article was saying, find tools and strategies that work for you.
Like using a calendar, blocking out focus time.
Yeah. Or even just saying no to things that aren't your top priority.
I could use some help with that no part. But, okay, we've talked a lot about the challenges, which are real.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the rewards, too.
Yes. There are definitely some amazing rewards. The article was saying, like, one of the biggest is the constant learning.
Yeah, that makes sense. Always pushing yourself to learn new things, get better.
Exactly. And they gave the example of a developer who was working on AI.
Oh, wow. Cutting edge stuff.
Right. And the article said that kind of experience can lead to, like, really amazing opportunities.
So it's like a built-in perk you get paid to learn. What else did they say?
Well, another big one is the impact you can make. Like, ICs really get to see the results of their work.
Because they're so directly involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the article gave this example of a QA engineer who found, like, this major bug.
Oh, right. Like the one we were talking about before.
Yeah. And, like, imagine knowing that you saved the company from that disaster.
That's got to feel pretty good.
Right. And even beyond that, there's just this, like, satisfaction that comes from building something great.
Like that feeling of, I made this happen.
Exactly.
It sounds like being an IC is about finding that perfect match between your skills and what you're passionate about.
And then seeing how that work makes a difference.
So we've talked about the roles, the challenges, the rewards. What are your final thoughts on this whole IC thing?
Well, I think the main takeaway is that it's not just a job title, it's a mindset. It's about being willing to constantly learn and grow, solve problems, and work well with others. And I think if you like challenges and you enjoy, like, having that independence while still being part of a team, then the IC path could be a great fit.
So it sounds like the IC path really offers a lot, but it's not easy.
Oh, definitely not. It takes a certain type of person, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, what kind of personality works well as an IC?
Well, From the article and just, my own experience, I'd say a few things stand out. Like, first of all, curiosity.
Curiosity, how so?
Well, ICs are always like pushing the limits, exploring new tech, trying to understand things deeper.
So it's not enough to just know what you know. You have to want to know more.
Exactly. Always learning, always growing.
That makes sense.
What else? I think also like a healthy dose of skepticism.
Skepticism, like not believing everything they hear.
Well, it's more like they don't just accept things at face value.
They ask questions.
Yeah, like, why are we doing it this way? Or is this really the best solution?
Oh, I see. So they're not afraid to challenge the status quo.
Exactly. Which is important because they're the ones, down in the details. They need to be able to speak up.
Makes sense.
Oh, and another thing, persistence.
Persistence, like not giving up easily.
Yeah, because ICs, they're going to run into tough problems, roadblocks, setbacks.
It's IT. Things are going to go wrong.
Exactly. So they need to be able to keep going, even when it gets frustrating.
So you got to be pretty resilient then, huh?
Yeah, definitely. And this might sound weird, but also like being okay with being wrong sometimes.
What do you mean?
Well, in IT especially, things change so fast. What's right today might be wrong tomorrow.
Oh, I get it. So you have to be able to adapt, learn new things.
Exactly. And that means admitting when you don't know something or when you made a mistake.
So it's like having a growth mindset, always learning.
Totally. And it ties back to that collaboration thing we were talking about before.
Right, being able to work with others, take feedback.
Exactly. Because you can learn so much from other people. Okay, thinking back to the article, was there anything else that like really stood out to you?
Yeah, I think one thing that really resonated was the idea of like finding your niche.
Oh, yeah, finding your niche.
Because IT is so big, there were so many different areas you could go into.
Right, and the article was saying it's important to figure out what you're really passionate about.
What you're good at, too.
Yeah, and then like really focus on that, become an expert in that one thing.
Makes sense. So don't try to do everything, just do one thing really well.
Exactly. And then as you grow, maybe your interests will change and you can explore other areas.
Yeah, but starting with that focus, it gives you a good foundation.
Totally.
Well, this has been a really insightful deep dive into the world of ICs. Thanks for sharing your insights with us today.
My pleasure.
And to everyone listening, if you liked what you heard today, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the world of IT. We've got a lot more to explore.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
And don't forget to check out LearnXYZ-In. They've got some awesome resources, especially if you're interested in learning more about being an IC.
Definitely check them out.
And hey, while you're at it, take a look at www.learnxyz.in too. Lots of great stuff there.
Yeah, it's a fantastic site.
Okay, that's a wrap for today. See you next time.